Hi everyone, I'm going to tie a pattern for you today called the Tom Thumb. It's been recognized sort of in northern Canada as a pattern that's used extensively in lakes, which is true. The pattern originates from England, although from around the 1940s, and it was popularized in Canada shortly around that time. This is truly one of the first waking flies that we ever came across in this part of the world, and it still to this day is an exceptional fly pattern. If you're the type of fly angler for trout that trolls a lot, then this is a good pattern in the summer or late fall when the adults hatch, the brown caddis hatch, limnophilides, to use on them as a surface topwater fly. As I mentioned, by design, the fly has a forward-facing wing, and it wakes a good amount of water, and makes a huge attraction for the fish. So some people have expressed that they have a lot of frustration tying this pattern. I could probably see why if you've never tied one before. But what I'll do is I'll mount up a hook here. It's called a BL599 by Hens. It's a size 10, and we'll start with laying down a firm thread base. I pre-waxed the thread by just rubbing it on some cobbler's wax. Traditionally the pattern was tied with deer hair, and deer hair certainly works. Not all deer hair is equal, but I find for myself, depends on where it comes off the animal, but for myself I generally find elk hair a lot more easier to work with, certainly on this pattern. And I'll start by taking a small clump of elk hair, and we'll remove it from the skin. And I just make sure it's nice and clean, make sure there's no under hair or guard hairs in it. And we'll put it in a stacking tool and tamp all the hair so that the ends are even. So I'll just run it on my hand here. Quarter turn to pull that out. And with the tips matched, I try to make my tail, it's about hook shank length, so it's from the eye of the hook just to the back of the bend on this particular pattern. But before I do that, I'll advance my thread to the front. And now that I've measured off that position, I have that pinch between my forefinger and thumb. I'll start by taking some loose turns and then slowly tighten the turns up as we move down the hook shank. I try to keep my thread relatively flat. And then with the thread being flat, I'll just tighten up my turns on a forward pass, stopping again in the same position where we had initially tied in the material. Now I'll take another clump of hair, about 2 to 3 times the thickness of what we originally used. I'll just remove that from the skin. Again, try to clean this out, either by using a dubbing brush or a knit comb, dog knit comb, or even cleaning it by hand. You can see it all, the underfur will pull out. That's the biggest part about working with deer hair, elk hair, is making sure that underfur has been removed. It just ties in a lot easier, a lot neater. When the material is tied in, it won't slip, and if you leave the underfur in, it often will slip and not stack properly or lay in properly. So again, we'll remove the elk hair. Now, as you noticed, we had the first bunch we had measured off was hook shank length. So that is the tail. I do the same measurement again for the body. I'll transfer back and forth. Now I'll do the same measurement again for the wing. And once I've done that, I'll pinch it down in place. The hair itself, now the tip end, should be considerably longer than the tail. And I'll take a couple loose turns here. And then we'll just do touching open turns at first here, and then tighten up my turns to lash this all in and get it all set nice and well. The original pattern, like I said, was using deer hair. They didn't put any kind of material over the body, but I find working this pattern in the surface area, a body with some thread or microstraggle, which is one of the things that I prefer to use. There's a lot of different colors. So I'll just clean this all up. And like I said, just good tight lashing turns. This will tie it all in good and tight. And now I'll add some 2mm microstraggle. It's the sunburst color. I like the sunburst or orange or reds for this particular pattern when it's in the surface area because they're high visibility colors. And they wouldn't be that far off from the brown traveling caddis. A lot of people would call them a traveling sedge, which is accurate, or an October caddis, which may be accurate, but I'm pretty sure they're a brown sedge as opposed to an October caddis. Mistakenly pattern called an October caddis. So again, now we'll just wrap the 2mm straggle. And just bring that up behind the hook eye, and we'll tie off with the 12-aught nano silk. I do all my tie-off procedures, or not all of them, certainly a lot of them, with what I call a 3-3 stop. So that's wrap it over once, flip the material back, wrap it in front, flip the material forward, wrap it in the back in. And I do that 3 times, and that pretty much intertwines the material through the thread and locks it all in place. And it keeps my thread wraps to a minimum for the tie-in. So now that we have everything measured out, if I pull my elk hair, the longer sections forward, you can see the tail section pretty much stays out the back and doesn't interfere with the actual tie of the pattern itself. And now once it's laid out in front, I'll take a couple of wraps. Take a couple of wraps and really use my forefinger and my thumb to pull the material nice and tight against the hook shank. And this will separate my body out. I'll keep it nice and tight and keep my wing forward. And now I can lift my wing. So I press with my thumbnail against my tie down wraps. I can pull everything back and very neatly tie off right behind the hook eye. And then do 2 3-knot whip finishes. I'll wax the last one here a bit. Pull good and tight. And we'll cut off the thread. So, as you can see, the wing is in an upright fashion, sitting almost at a 45-degree angle to the hook body. So this fly, as it is pulled through the water, of course, will push a lot of water in front of it. So that's why it's called a waking fly. I've used this pattern in rivers and in lakes. If I don't have a grasshopper or a stonefly, adult stonefly, I'll often find just running a waking pattern like this will work. Yeah, I'll run larger ones, size 6s and size 8s obviously for the hoppers and the stoneflies, but a size 10 or a 12 in this pattern for lakes is an exceptional fly pattern. It certainly has caught me a lot of fish over the years. Anyways, I hope you enjoyed that, and I hope that showed you a very easy way of tying this particular pattern. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.